Stepbrother framed me for perving on his stepsister. So my family kicked me out at 16. 30 years later, they reached out asking to reconcile. Okay, as a mild lurker on Reddit, I thought I would share my story and the newest development in my life after 30 years. It might be a bit long, but I will do my very best to give you context without too much fluff. I hope this is the right sub. So, I lost my mom when I was 12 to breast cancer, so that just left me and my dad. It was a tough time, but we got through it together. When I was 14, my dad met and married my stepmother, Ashley, who brought with her my stepbrother Mark, 14, and stepsister Emily, 12. I got along with Ashley and Emily really well, but with Mark, not so much. So he and I were always getting into arguments and fights. I was always told by my dad to give Mark a break because he's been the man of his house for a while, so this is all new, like somehow it wasn't new to me. Anyway, when I was 15, I met a girl at school named Lisa, and we started dating as much as one could date at 15. However, Mark apparently had a crush on her and was so mad that I asked her out. He started a fight over it, in which my dad had to intervene once again, and somehow I was again made to be the bad guy. One day after my 16th birthday, my stepmom was putting away my laundry and started yelling, which was awkward because my girlfriend Lisa was there. We all ran, thinking the worst. When we got to my room, my stepmom was holding several pairs of my sister's underwear and yelling at me, asking why they were in my drawer. I had no answer, as I'd never seen them before. Of course, no one believed me, no matter how much protesting I did. Mark piped up, saying he always caught me staring at his sister, thinking it was creepy, and caught me once saying I wished I could marry her. Obviously, he was lying, but that was all it took. Lisa slapped me, called me a perv, told me we were done, and walked out. My dad grabbed me by the arm and threw me out of the house. He was yelling at me that he wasn't going to put his daughter at risk from a perv. Not the word he used, but you get it. I banged on the door to be let in, crying and telling them it was all lies told by Mark. My dad apparently had enough. I heard the locks, and he opened the door, shoved me to the ground, and told me to get lost. I told him I had nowhere to go, and he said that wasn't his problem, then closed the door. I found myself on the streets with nothing to my name. There was no place to go. I tried calling my dad's parents, but he had already called them, and they told me they wouldn't help a perv. My mom's parents passed away before I was born. Well, I lived on the streets for 2 years, doing what I had to in order to survive. No kid should have had to do what I had to do in order to just live. There were some really dark days. Lots of therapy later in life helped me with this. Shortly after I turned 18, I found a job working at a boxing gym. I stayed away from where I began this horrible journey. I worked there for years. I learned the sport. I'm never going to beat Mike Tyson, but I was good at it, which helped me with my hate and anger. Then one day, I met a new girl, 20, at the cafe down the street from the gym. At this point, I was 35. I know, a huge age gap, but we just clicked. I don't believe in fate, soulmates, or anything like that, but if there is such a thing, we have it. I don't know how else to put it. We dated for 2 years, and then got married. Her dad was an electrician and hired me on afterward. I think mostly to know I would be able to support his daughter and know I was doing right by her, but also in case he needed to keep me in check. He never said this, but as a dad, I get it now. Well, 15 years later, we are still together with 4 beautiful daughters. I just passed my master's license as an electrician, thanks to my wife for pushing me to get my journeyman's license. She has been my rock, my cheerleader, and my all-around support through this all, and I can't tell her enough how much she changed my life and how much I love her. Anyway, sorry for the tangent. So just this past weekend, I received an email from my stepsister. I'm not sure how she got my email address, but I know it isn't hard via the internet, not like I've been hiding. Mind you, I'm now pushing 53, so it's been 30 plus years since I've heard from any of them. It was a long, long email. I'm not going to give you all of it, but the meat of it is that they now know what really happened. Mark, I guess, was busy drinking with his buddies on Friday, and somehow my name was mentioned. Mark, I guess, started bragging about how he set me up and took my girl. Yup, Mark and Lisa got married all those years ago. They were all laughing, hoping I died on the streets. A bunch of rude and vile stuff. I guess he forgot Lisa was there, and she heard it all. So she called my stepsister to let her know, and so Emily spent all weekend trying to find me. Like I said, the email was long. The short of it is that they want to apologize face to face, although it was already said in the email multiple times, and make up for lost time. I am, however, indifferent to the idea. I have no ill feelings towards her. She was obviously young and had no real say in the matter, but with lots and lots of therapy, I learned to let go of that hate and anger as well. With all the love I receive from my wife, kids, and in-laws, it's all I really need. I'm into the idea of just deleting the email and moving on like nothing happened. My wife thinks I should at least respond back, even if to say something snarky like, "Thanks for finally believing me." It only took over 30 years. Did I mention my wife has a mean or petty streak toward her? She's awesome. I'm not asking for advice. I just wanted to share my story. There is a boxing quote that I have up in my house that reminds me every day. To see a man beaten, not by a better man, but by himself, is a tragedy. Edited, pushing 50 to 53 because apparently people are getting hung up on my age because, if it's not perfect, I guess that's Reddit for you. Comments. Primary Philho. It's up to you what you should do. Personally, I'd either delete the email or respond telling her thanks for letting you know and that while you bear her no hard feelings, you have no interest in reconnecting with any of the rest of them. Matt Religious now. Interesting. I'm with your wife on this because I'm petty like that too. I have a question for you. What happened to your dad and stepmom? Is there any mention of them in that email? Perhaps for final closure, simply respond that you appreciate them reaching out after 30 plus years, but you have a great life without any of the people who would throw out a 16-year-old child on the streets. Then ask not to be bothered again. Or say you're willing to meet if and when Mark, Lisa, your dad, and stepmom beg for your forgiveness on their knees to make up for the hell you endured. Ocean 2731. I delete the email and go on living your best life without them. Do you really want to spend more time and emotional energy with them? OP. That truly is my thought, but my wife's petty answer would be good as well. Update 2 days later. First, I want to thank everyone for their kind words and advice. I wasn't looking for advice. I just wanted a place to share my story. To those who gave me credit for overcoming everything, thank you. However, the wife thinks she deserves most of it, and in all honesty, she does. To those who think this is fake, it's Reddit, I get it. It is what it is. Most things have to be taken with a grain of salt. I shared my story, and I can't make you believe me, but that's okay. If my story resonates and helps others know they can survive, then I'm happy with that, and that's all that matters. Okay, for the update, I'm going to post most of the original email, as a lot of you have requested. I kept out some deep personal information, but the majority of it is there. I might have to break it up due to the character limit, plus a response with the help of my wife, and also the help of others who made suggestions, which is good because I'm not that great at putting down in words how I feel without coming off looking dumb. She was able to make me sound less dumb. LOL. I took the family to the lake for the weekend to recharge, and leave this all behind me. Thanks again to everyone. Emily's letter. Dear OP, this is your sister, Emily, and as I sit down to finally reach out to you after what feels like an eternity, I would like to explain why. I understand if you choose not to read this, but I truly hope you will take the time to at least hear me out. First of all, I want to apologize for never taking the time to contact you before. I was misled by Mark and Dad, who constantly painted a negative picture of you in my mind. They filled my head and heart with lies, and made me believe that you were someone you were not. For a while, I held on to hope that you would come back home. But as time passed, and their words continued to poison my thoughts, I let go of that hope and allowed myself to believe the worst about you. It pains me to admit that I even started to hate you despite the fact that, deep down, I always considered you a brother to me. I felt betrayed by the twisted image that was presented to me, and I regret not reaching out to hear your side of the story sooner. A lot has changed in our family since you left. I got married, and now you're an uncle. Mom and Dad are still together and are preparing for retirement. Mark and Lisa eventually got married, and they have no children. However, the truth that has recently come to light has shaken the very foundation of everything I thought I knew. On Friday, Lisa overheard Mark boasting about how he orchestrated the setup against you, how he manipulated the situation to make you look bad and convinced us to turn against you. To his friends, as they all got drunk, they laughed about the pain he caused you and the lies he spread, all while belittling you in the cruelest and meanest ways possible, saying things like, "Hope you died in the streets." Lisa couldn't keep this bombshell to herself, and when she confided in me, my world came crashing down. To think that I could have been so wrong about you for all these years is a heavy burden to bear. I can't begin to express how deeply sorry I am, as is Lisa. We both realize now the extent of the manipulation and deceit that was carried out against you, and we are devastated by this fact. After sharing this revelation with Mom and Dad, Dad started crying, like really crying. I've never seen him cry before. I believe it's because he has been carrying around a lot of guilt all these years. Obviously, now knowing the truth, he is having to deal with the consequences of his actions. However, after several hours of talking, we all came to the conclusion that we needed to find you and make amends. I've spent hours trying to locate you in the hopes that I could reach out and extend a heartfelt apology for the years of misunderstanding, mistreatment, and hurt. I know that words can never undo the damage that has been done to you, but I sincerely hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive us. We long to make amends, to start anew, and to maybe even make up for lost time. Please know that I am truly sorry for the pain and hurt that you have endured because of our ignorance and blindness. I hope that someday we can meet in person so that I can look you in the eye and express my remorse face to face. I can only hope that you will consider giving us a chance to right the wrongs of the past and to heal the wounds that have been inflicted on you by us. With all my love and sincerest apologies. Your sister, Emily. OP's response. Dear Emily, I appreciate you taking the time to reach out to me, but I must be honest with you. The years of pain and hurt caused by the lies and manipulation by Mark and the betrayal by Dad have left deep scars that will never be truly healed. While I understand that you are now aware of the truth and are genuinely sorry for what has transpired, I find it difficult to simply forgive and forget. The betrayal and abandonment I experienced at the hands of my own family have left me with a sense of distrust and resentment that can never be overcome. The damage that has been done has impacted me in ways that you may never fully and truly understand, and the idea of trying to reconcile now feels like an insurmountable task. I have spent years in therapy trying to come to terms with the pain and deep trauma I endured, and I have worked hard to build a wonderful life for myself that does not rely on the presence or approval of those who turn their backs on me. While I am grateful for the apology and the newfound awareness of the truth, I do not feel compelled to rekindle a relationship that was built on lies, deception, and betrayal, especially after all these years. I have found peace and closure in distancing myself from those who caused me harm, and I do not see the need to reopen old wounds in the name of reconciliation. While I believe in the power of forgiveness, that isn't something I can give. I wish you all the best in your life. I really do, but I must prioritize my emotional health and self-preservation above all else. I hope you can respect my decision and understand that the wounds of the past will take a lifetime to heal. I would appreciate it if you pass this fact on to the others, and please don't reach out again. I must look to my future and not my past. Sincerely, OP. Comments, Jinx Amagi. Emily writes about the changes in the family after you left. You didn't leave. You were kicked out of your house with absolutely nothing. Even your grandparents wouldn't listen to you. You were a 16-year-old, a child. They feel guilty. Let them. Leave them in your rearview mirror. To throw away a child like that, to not even talk to you, your sperm donor is a horrible thing. I hope the guilt eats him up. You could have died, and Mark wishes you death and misery. For what? Because his mom married a guy with a son? I wish you and your family all the best. I'm happy you realize that letting them back in will not serve you. Itchy Bookkeeper 158. Your dad is such a POS. I still cannot believe what he did. Good riddance. Susha Bento Box. He is the absolute worst in all of this. He believed the words of another male over his own son and the stepbrother. Vile, despicable sociopath. There's a special place in hell for him.